All right, this thing's actually working and I got it to work the first time. Is that right? Can you guys hear me? No, maybe not. Nick James, can you hear me? Okay, loud and clear. Sweet. Appreciate you guys joining us. This will be a quick, kind of down and dirty. Most I have is about 30 minutes. So just got done recording with Deep End Fitness, Don Tran and Prime Hall. So we've had them on before, and then we're going to release some extra content today as soon as it like I don't know if you guys can hear the humming right now, but my computer is in the process of doing the production of it from Final Cut Pro. So as soon as that's done and I get it uploaded to YouTube, we're just going to drop it. It J Mac, who's been on the show twice before, actually kind of called a impromptu little call for fire mission to get us together. And so generally we record first thing in the morning on the weekends, but last night on a Friday night he wanted to get a little crazy with us, so we hopped on. So we'll release that today. Um, so you guys don't want to hear me ramble about that kind of stuff. You guys want questions answered. So let's see what we got here. What's the most elite and hardest unit to get into in the Air Force? I think you guys already know that. So I'm not going to necessarily, say what it is because it's open source. But even though it's open source, I could still get into some issues if I mention them. But they do have a podcast, and you guys can check them out. They are on Instagram as well at 724STG underscore RAS. And that's Trey and his guys that are actually, and they also have a podcast as well called Insight Through Experience, which is really good. It's on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. So check them out. Trey is definitely more articulate and very much smarter than me, and that he lives and breathes any kind of ANS. So definitely check them out. Let's see. What is the future of TACP missions? Seems like they are trying to stay relevant, and if they don't change, they won't get any funds. Oh man, it's almost like you're reading my mind. So no kidding, I was talking to two of my TACP buddies yesterday about this. So what we want to have happen is we want one of them to come on, and he's a soft TACP to come on and deep dive soft TACP, and he's got just like every other soft TACP, they have experience on the conventional side, and then they have experience on the soft side. Um, so we're going to have him on, but it's probably not going to be until he PCSs or moves from his current duty station. That way, he's not worried about any of the, getting approval to come on. The other techie that I was talking to is trying to, and he's been working on what the future of TACP is. So he's going to come on soonish and talk about that, understanding that some of that stuff is still in development, it's still changing. So whatever he happens to say or whatever we talk about, if we recorded it tomorrow, it could change by the time you come in, or it could change in 4 weeks from now. So he won't necessarily get into nitty gritty details, but it can at least give you an idea of what TACP is going to be doing in the future. But we are talking about that, and we are going to have them on. So good call on that. What is the weirdest, coolest unknown school available for aspect war? Little known school? That's a good question. I don't know. I I couldn't even tell you because what I think or what I know as being common knowledge, other people may not know about it. So it's tough to. Um, and that's for military schools. A lot of the schools that we will go to are run by private sector or retired contractors and stuff like that to get, and that's a lot of our shooting courses, driving courses, breaching, demolition, that kind of stuff. So to say that there's one that's little known, I don't know. We all kind of know these across the community. So sorry, I'm not dodging your question. It's just a little difficult to answer. Have I ever worked with linguists before? Yes, I have. Those are some wicked smart people. I'm shipping out for EOD soon. Do you have any cool stories in EOD text from EOD text? None. None of mine are from Air Force ones. All the ones that I have are from Navy EOD guys, and they were fantastic. Great shooters, great people, incredibly smart when it comes to explosives. And I know the Air Force is trending in that direction as well with going more tactical and stuff. So that's good to see from our Air Force EOD. And again, they're always professional. They're always extremely knowledgeable when it comes to explosives, IEDs, booby-trapped houses, and that kind of stuff. So I can't say I've had a bad experience with any EOD across the board. Future does look great for TACPs. My son is currently finishing up EOD school at Eglin. Congrats to him. MM, so it might be MM. I was actually talking to somebody else, but he suggested that it's MM or nasty, if you know nasty. So it's going to be probably one of those two if I can get them to agree to it. Are Stowe's what 724 underscore STG underscore Raz is? No, that is actually the assessment and selection for the specialized unit within AFSOC. What are deployments like for SEER? I actually don't know off the top of my head like what theirs are because they are going through generally Air Combat Command or getting a deployment through Air Education and Training Command. But generally, they try and match what we are doing. So 5 to 6 month deployments. Why? This is really good, actually. Why is everyone hating on Aaron lately? I actually talked about this in our episode with J Mac last night. Aaron's a really good dude. Aaron's extremely intelligent, much smarter than I am, and he is very passionate, as you all know. He is unapologetically himself. He is will do he will do anything for you. He will drop everything that he's doing to help you out. So there's no doubt about that. You guys got to also remember that things that you can see on social media is not always real. So there's personas being, shown to everybody. There's not. There's you can't hear, when people are DMing or using the keyboard and stuff like that, you can't hear people's tone of voice. So a lot of communication is lost that way. You've heard Joe Rogan say it. It's a really poor way of communicating, which it really is. I mean, how many times have you seen an email or seen a DM or you've sent one and somebody has taken it the wrong way? Same kind of thing. So one of the things that we talk about is, hey, you authenticity. Like that's what we talk about for a little bit with J Mac, authenticity. And it doesn't get much more authentic than Aaron because you know exactly what you're going to get and he's going to shoot you straight, whether you like it or not, or whether he comes off abrasive or not. That's just the way he is. And that's what it's going to be. So I can appreciate somebody who's going to be who they are and be authentic versus being somebody that they want us to be. You know what I mean? So yeah, there you go. Is TACP turning AFSOC? I'm asking because now they're adding swimming. No, they're not turning AFSOC or anything like that. I mean, we already have TACPs within AFSOC, but you got to think about what the amount of swim that they're adding to the pipeline is not what we're doing in terms of PJCTSR. It's not at that level, right? But everybody should know how to swim because everybody should be able to save themselves. They should be able to save someone else. If a helicopter crashes in the water, you should be able to egress the helicopter and get out, and you know how to swim to do that. That's all that is. It's not that they're turning an AFSOC. Can you speak on retention bonus, enlistment? Oh, sorry, the chat just went. Can you speak on retention bonus, enlistment bonus? Is there retraining bonuses? Yeah, actually there is. So there, you have your sign-on bonus, right, for the $50,000, assuming you get selected and you make it through and you're awarded your break. Then you have different zones. You have your zone A, B, C, and I think it skips D and it goes to E, but don't quote me on that. And the way that works is each zone is a certain timeline. And again, don't quote me on this because I'm not staring at the Air Force instruction, but let's just say that zone A is from 4 years to 4 years to 8 years. Zone B is 8 years to 12 years, right? And again, these aren't accurate, but what there will be is a multiplier. It'll just be a number. Just call it 7.0, right? And what will happen is when it comes time for you to decide whether you're going to reenlist, you'll go, okay, hey, I want to reenlist, and I'm currently at 6 years, and I want to go to 10 years. So at the between 5 to 6 year mark is when you're eligible to reenlist. You'll see that there's a multiple of 7. So you take the 7 times what your base pay is, based off your rank and your time in service. So the multiple times your base pay times the number of years that you are then reenlisting for. So whether that's 2, 4, 6 years, so it's going to go multiplier times base pay times the amount of years you're signing up for, and then that number is what your bonus is actually going to be. And then, so that's gross, and then they'll take away the taxes unless you happen to reenlist in a tax-free zone, and then you'll get all of that. But after taxes, that's what you'll end up getting, and that's your retention bonus. Then you have, at least right now, there's what we call an old man bonus, which is you can only do it 19 years, but I wouldn't worry about that yet because if you're just coming in, I don't even know if that'll be there. So, because these things fluctuate all the time. So hopefully that makes sense. I was thinking TAC-P, but they just usually attach to regular Army units, right? Why would I train under SOCOM and not be part of the elite with my brothers? So I'm thinking CCT. Yeah, man. So it's not like I don't want to make it sound like class warfare because it's definitely not class warfare. It's just they have a different job. Yes, TAC-Ps come in conventional right off the bat, and they attach to big Army. So sometimes that's on an Air Force base. Sometimes that's on an Army base. Some of them attach to airborne units. Some of them attach to armor. So you got tanks, stuff like that. Some of them are infantry or mechanized and that kind of stuff. So they are adapting to whatever unit they go and get assigned to. Now, the other part of your question, you say train under SOCOM. You're not, as a TAC-P, you're not training under SOCOM, at least for your pipeline. So I don't quite understand that one, but we'll just move on from that one. Shipping out SWOE soon as an E3. I don't know if I should take the 6-year with 50K bonus or 4-year no bonus. Man, 50K would be pretty nice, especially if you're smart with your money. Don't go out and buy a new Toyota Tundra or Tacoma or something like that right off the bat. Or you could go get your typical V6 Mustang or V6 Camaro with 26% APR with no down. Don't do any of that. Those are terrible decisions. Don't do that. I don't know. For me, I would sign up for the 6-year. This is me. I'd sign up for the 6-year and get the $50,000 bonus. And then say you decide to continue on your career and it's time to do a reenlistment bonus. You just time it right, and you're going to get another lump of money, which is going to be awesome. So I don't necessarily know why you would turn down $50,000. I mean, when you think of the grand scheme of things, 4 years versus 6 years, it's 2 years difference. Like, that's not much time. So choice is yours, but that's what I would do. How do you feel about changing the name SR to SRT to pronounce CERT and stand for Special Reconnaissance Technician, kind of like CCT is Combat Control? Well, it's actually combat control team, which I know doesn't make sense, but it's combat control team, not combat control technician. I don't know. Guess what? I don't make those decisions, so I don't know. They'll change it whatever you want to. It's in a name. I agree that messaging is everything, but um, man, you'll find that most people just want to do their job and get after it. So, also, when is a space JTAC? That's a great question. And if Aaron gets to do the first low Earth orbit rescue and jump, I want to be the first JTAC to do some kind of space drop. That sounds awesome. Nice hair. I don't have any. Stands for combat control. Somebody already got it. Space Force TAC P. There will be no Space Force TAC P. No, not happening. It's only CCT. They don't get it. It's a joke. That's weird. There's a message that's hidden. Okay. Aaron Love is an awesome dude, even though he has gotten in my ass more than once. He is a great dude. I'm not arguing that for sure. Hey Peaches, how soon can package be sent to cross train? I'm about 6.5 months away from my 2-year mark. I'm in the process of getting the physical. So I would go on the MyPers and then click on retraining and see if it'll allow you to apply for it. I know some people have been allowed to apply beforehand, some have not. So just go on there and see if it'll allow you to do it. Because I don't want to tell you you can or you've got to wait, and then I end up screwing you because turns out the system would have allowed you to do it. So, do they still do phase 2 for CCT retraining down in Florida? Did they get rid of that? They're getting rid of it and move it. They are getting rid of it if they haven't already, and they're moving it to Lackland. Shipping out as a Navy nuke in a few days. Are you familiar with any of the former nukes coming into the PJ pipeline? No, I'm not. Man, we get all flavors of all kinds. Like we get gunners off of 60s. We get EOD guys. We've had a couple SEALs come through. We've had some Force Recon guys come through. We actually had a lot of Force Recon guys come through. I don't know of any MRT or not MRT. MARSOC guys coming through right now. We've had a handful of Green Berets come through as well, and vice versa. Like some folks have come in and they've decided to go the other route. I know RJ Casey was on, and that dude's done like every single job in the military and stuff. So, yeah. Oh, what is this one? WS is PCS soon. I don't know what that means. Why has there always been guard soft but not reserve? Well, PJs have reserve units if that's what you're talking about, unless you mean specifically special tactics where we only have 2 guard units. I don't know. I don't know the answer to that actually. Out of the 4 spec warfare career fields, which one is the hardest in training and most qualified for broader jobs? Well, that's tough because each one has its own specialty. But what you'll find is that and actually we dropped this episode today with Sean Matson, and he's a former SEAL, and now he's a big entrepreneur going around. That's what I find mostly. Like we do get some controllers, PJs, SR, Tech Ps that do contracting jobs, and they go work for some alphabet agencies or something like that. But a lot of our folks don't like being told what to do and that they're their own person. So there's a lot of entrepreneurial spirit in our folks, and a lot of people end up starting their own brands and own businesses and doing that stuff. And if you're in development, you know that a lot of the T3I contractors and trainers and developers are all retired controllers, PJs, SEER, TACP, EOD, that kind of stuff. So there's a lot of opportunity on the outside, and the skills translate. And it's not necessarily about the medical skills or the radio skills or air traffic control skills. It's about a lot of the life skills that the soft community has instilled in us and beaten into us throughout our time in the military. That's what really makes a lot of our folks successful. Mm-mm. If you were ever to do it all over again, would you do it and why? I absolutely would. Like I posted or I wrote a post a couple of days ago about how I won the lottery with this job, and I truly believe that the community and the lifelong friends that I met, the opportunities that I've had to travel, just experience good, bad, ugly. I would do it over again in a heartbeat. I wouldn't change anything. I'd probably change some other things, like maybe invest in Bitcoin and Ethereum early on. I would probably do things like that, but I wouldn't do the job. I wouldn't change anything about the job. I love it, which is why I continue to do it. I'm in my 23rd year right now of doing it, so I do it all over again. How many deployments does average CCT get? It all depends on how long you stay in. Um, some of us are in the double digits. You stay in long enough, and you'll get there. Sorry, the chat keeps like resetting, so I got to go find it. Take the lumps, take the 50,000 exactly. Are there different types of PJs, like some specialize in special tactics and other in recruiter? There are, I mean, it's not that they're different PJs, it's just who their major command they're assigned to. So you get some that are assigned to Air Force Special Operations Command, you get some that are assigned to Air Combat Command, you get some that are in Air Force Material Command that are working on testing and acquisition of new equipment and parachutes and vehicles and stuff like that. So there's a lot of different opportunities. A lot like we get a lot of folks that stay on the teams and inside the squadrons. But then if they need a break or they want to venture out and see if there's something bigger, that's when they go to some of your special operations command headquarters, your material command, and stuff like that, just to get a broader scope of what's going on and help the community. I got about 8 more minutes. Um, the STO application was recently updated to say that the OFT would be the only physical fitness test for that would be accepted for STO after March. Will the TACPO and CRO apps also be transitioning? Great question, and I don't know the answer to it because all of that is in fluctuation right now. Like no kidding. It wasn't last week; it was the week before. I was at ANS, and I was there with several CRO commanders, several PJ chiefs, with the Special Warfare Training Wing and Training Group, and a lot of that stuff is changing right now. So I would answer you, but it's changing like as we speak. So I don't want to lead you down a wrong path. TAC PCT Master Chief dropping bomb for the Covenant. Space Force SR, obviously. Let's see what else we got here. What advice do you have for dealing with injuries while in the pipeline and training? Sorry, dog. Let me let the dog out. Um, recovery and mobilization, right? Those are the things that are going to help you. Oh, and eating too. Believe it or not, like you got to eat. You need the calorie intake because you're going to be burning wicked amount of calories. So just pay attention about how your body's feeling and mobilize, stretch, recover, sleep, and eat. Sorry, the chat just jumped again. Yes, my purse says you're eligible. It must be legit. Awesome. I hope it works out for you. What future expansion of the Special Warfare Enabler AFSC is being discussed? Currently, there is only SEER specialist. I don't necessarily understand your question, but there are talks at the headquarters. When I say that, I'm talking about Air Force Special Operations Command and Special Operations Command about what the future of special tactics and Air Force Special Warfare looks like. And all of that is in line with the evolution of what special tactics and all the other special operations communities look like, because we don't look like what we did 2 years ago. And 2 years ago, we didn't look like what we looked like 4 years prior to that. So we are constantly evolving, constantly changing what we do because we are looking at the threat environment and the political landscape and all that kind of stuff changes. So we're just adjusting. That's all it is, and it's a continuous evolution. I saw new infrastructure in the San Antonio John Chapman Joint Annex to increase the flow of trainees to bump up to 3,000 a year. I don't know if that's 3,000 is a lot, especially considering that it's, not nearly that much right now. But yeah, there's construction going. They're putting in a pool over there, as well as some other stuff. When training for selection, specifically the rucking, do you suggest a specific rucksack or do you use anything? So, you have a couple different options right there. One is don't think you need some super fancy rucksack to get, to start training with. You don't. You can just use a backpack, throw some weight in there because it's about getting the load bearing on your actual body frame and stuff like that. Now, if you have an Army Navy surplus store near you, you can go look for an Alice ruck there, and that would be fantastic for you to use if you can find an Alice ruck, which would be relatively inexpensive. Then obviously we have Eberly stock, promo code OR10, and there's a ton of rucks there that you can get. But again, you don't need to spend a whole bunch of money to get the benefit of just throwing some weight in a ruck and going around. Are the exit standards 130? I don't know. Maybe for underwaters. I know what you're talking about. Maybe they are. Maybe they're not. I don't know. Any maintenance cross trainees I've worked with? Yeah, a whole lot. And those dudes are pipe hitters. I got one that's one of our flight chiefs right now, and the dude's he's a monster. He's a maniac, as in really good. Have y'all worked with anyone from CCAT team? I haven't found many resources on that. Next, green light. I can't think off the top of my head if I have worked with any of them or not. Actually, I can't really answer that. I'm sorry. For the TAPAS, is it possible to qualify for SR and PJ at the same time? Can you score passing for all three AFSCs? Yes. Yeah, that's essentially the TAPAS. If people don't know what that is, and I don't know what the acronym stands for, but it's a kind of a psych. It's a version, or it is a psych test. It's not the only psych test that you're going to take, though. So yeah, you qualify for all three. Why are the government computers so slow when you need to do online training? Man, that's a great question. If I had to guess, it was because all the firewall and ensuring network securities and stuff like that on base. All right, 2 more minutes. I'm going to try and rush through these. 23 years, Woot, just entering plan. Yeah, still in my prime. How realistic is it for you to go grad school while serving in special warfare? Well, guys go get their masters quite frequently, so I'd say it is possible. It's just how well you manage your time. Shortest PJ I've ever seen or worked with is Rod Alney, chief type. He's retired. He always touted he's the littlest PJ. It's a good dude, really wicked smart. Have there ever been any retrainees that weren't selected, but you felt they would have made great operators? Absolutely. And not just retrainees, like brand new dudes too. That's one of the reasons why we changed the pipeline, and we're constantly changing the pipeline so that we don't miss people that would be fantastic operators and then for whatever reason weren't selected. It happens. It does happen. I'd like to say it's infrequent, but I honestly don't know the percentage rate. So, excuse me. All right, one more, and then I got to bounce. Is it a good idea to contact the unit directly when trying to apply for a Guard Tech P? Yes, you need to do that. They're going to put you through your own selection. I know I said one more, but that was the easy one. Is being an officer really worth it compared to enlisted? Man, that's a great question. Okay. I'll pontificate on that one real quick. And I'm going to base it on if you're trying to decide, if you have a degree and you're trying to decide whether or not you should go enlisted or officer, we have some fantastic officers, like true leaders, that I would follow anywhere within Air Force Special Warfare. We have the same on the enlisted side. Um, if you want to be a technical expert in your craft, then you want to go enlisted. If you want to be an amazing PJ that can do rope systems, high angle rescue, swift water rescue, and all the things that a PJ can do, you go enlisted. Same with CCT in terms of global access, precision strike, personnel recovery, and all that kind of stuff. You go CCT. Same with SR for their gig, right? If you want a few years on team and then bumping up into true leadership roles where you're making decisions and stuff like that, and better pay, then you go officer. That doesn't mean that on the enlisted side that you aren't going to be leading, because you absolutely are going to be leading people, because we are a predominantly enlisted force in the SOF community, not just Air Force Special Warfare. So the other option that a lot of people don't know about is, even with a degree, you can come in enlisted. So you can come in enlisted, become a master of your craft, a technical expert, and at the 8-year, 10-year, 12-year mark, if you wanted to, you could then cross-train over to be a stow or a crow. Like, you can do that if you already have your degree. And then you would start as a lieutenant and then work your way up. That is also an option. Then you get the better pay, you get a better paid retirement and that kind of stuff, while still knowing and having executed the job probably to the potential that you would want to be. You can also come in without a degree enlisted and then work your way through college, doing online courses, stuff like that, earn your degree, and then transition over to being an officer as well. That is also an option. Like I said, some of the most fantastic officers I know are academy grads, regular college, ROTC, and prior service, or did the transition from enlisted to officer. Fantastic. So those are your options right there. I obviously I chose enlisted and I preferred enlisted, and I've got a degree. I've had it for years. It's just that I like what I do on the enlisted side of the house. So, all right. That's it for me today. I appreciate you guys joining in. Hopefully it was beneficial. I'm sorry I didn't get at all your questions. There's a lot of them, and I'm still working through this whole live thing. But as soon as these episodes finish producing, we're going to drop them. And so hopefully that'll be by tonight. Thanks again for all your support. Please visit us at onesready.com. Buy some merch. We are changing up our merch here pretty soon, just because some of the feedback that I've gotten is that the shirts run a little small. So if you're going for a large and you're kind of on the edge of a large or an extra large size, then go with an extra large. But we're gonna change up. Got some new designs coming out and stuff like that. So again, appreciate it, and you guys have a good one. Later.